Under the umbrella of content management, there's a number of different subcomponents of content management. For example, digital asset management, the management of photos and whatnot that have licensing agreements that need to be managed, or e-learning management systems, the management of content which is destined for an e-learning application. But there are four types of content management that we specialize in: component content management, web content management, document management, and mobile content management. So let me explain each one of those just briefly. Component content management really deals with taking content and chopping it up into smaller components of information. Sometimes that's taken down to a paragraph level, sometimes even further. They're predominantly used by technical publication groups where they have a need to produce multiple versions of content. Mostly when you've got different products that are going out and there's different versions of the product, they need to have the documentation that corresponds to that. In that, there's usually only moderate changes, so they need to reuse a lot of what they've done before in the new version. And they also have a large emphasis on getting the content translated. So you can imagine the difficulty in translation if you have a new version of a product that comes out. You want to change a couple sections. It might account for maybe 25% of the document that's changing, but you're sending the whole document off for translation. It becomes very costly. In fact, in many circumstances, translation is the primary business driver in implementing a system like that. Now, let's talk a little bit about web content management. I think that's probably the most common content management system on the market right now. As the name would indicate, it's all about preparing content for distribution on the internet. It is a very critical system because it, at least initially, was designed to remove the bottleneck of the HTML developer and empower the business owner. But of course, there's many other things that started to add to web content management systems as they started to get implemented, predominantly the enforcing of standards and governance. The third, document management, mostly found in corporate intranets. It's all about the managing of those binary assets. When I say a binary asset, I'm referring to like a Word document, a PowerPoint presentation, a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, PDF documents, or any other type of asset which is inherently non-structured from an XML standpoint. Now, these types of systems are really focused on making those assets easier to find and retrieve. So there might be a metadata that's applied to them. They get structured in a certain way that helps to make them more categorizable. And it also deals with the retention of those assets. So many of these documents you want to have available, but you may not want to keep them around for a period over 7 years for various legal ramifications. So how and when that those various versions are removed from the system. Obviously, over time it can sort of just keep building and building. You're going to have to get rid of some content at some point in time. And the last category that we deal with is mobile content management. Now, this is really focused on getting information out to mobile devices. And there are a number of different ways to look at accomplishing that. Now, for each one of these, there's a lot of information that we can look at. So we've created little version videos for each one of these that you can look into.